another daily cast coming in. We have SSP paired with Papai, uh, facing Gajuner, and Hygen. So it will be interesting to see. Hygen looking to get back up there. He had a little bit of a fall. He had also a time off due to some problems. Um, but now he's back. He's going to want to go back up. So let's see how he does against SSB, which also want to go up back to his 2.6k. So let's see which of the players will be making the first step back into that direction. We have wave 1 already begun, so it was a bit slow to start, but this now I will not forget to put up the info for you, and this is not necessary, so that you have a better view of what's going on. Let me check first. Is there anything else? Okay, I could put that over there. That should be better for you, because like that, when I select a unit, then you can see. Now we have wave 2 beginning. We have a Badger start from SSP, slow start going 4 worker, double Tempest going 5 worker, pretty vulnerable on wave 4, so we'll see how it does. We do have the Green Devil from Gajuner, able to hold this with 5 workers due to the Adam addition. Saiyajin did go for the Berserker start, meaning that he just gets the 5 workers. So we had 2 players reaching 5 worker at the beginning of wave 2, and 2 players well, no. Gajuner was able to push it at the end of wave 1, so a little bit of a mid-term advantage for him, but as you can see, not that much. So we'll see how the things develop. SSP will need to have something here, possibly aiming for only this ranger. It doesn't need much, just a single ranger here to share the aggro. It is, well, okay, on the side works as well, a little bit less pressure on the ranger, meaning also that the lizard will not target it. So possibly only 1, 2, or 3 hopper going on it. So it's a lot of pressure on the badger, but you want the badger to be your main tank. So it does do pretty well here. We do have here the Seraphim edition will be able to help him hold. It's supposed to not tank too much, but he's not receiving anything here. Saiyajin receiving the 60 cent here. And let's see if this positioning helps clear the lizard and the snail. There is a specific positioning, I do not know it, but currently with the reduced HP of the Berserker, it does mean that this leaks just a little bit the Berserker and the Serpent, but it looks like the aggro was decent for Saiyajin and he will be able to clear it. Only, oh no, there's 4 hopper, so this will lead to a leak 2 hopper only, so very good for him. The lizard will be held here, or will it? No, only the lizard leak here from SSP. Not enough going on the side of the ranger, not relieving enough pressure on the badger, meaning that it will be a leak here for SSP. It is bonus time, but it is a met with Saiyajin going 7 workers here, so he is the one benefiting the most out of it. SSP is at 6 worker going for a resend, but Saiyajin going for the resend as well can be good for SSP. So we'll see how things goes. Saiyajin trying to get as much income as possible. He will receive a snail here as a resend. He is shifting quite a lot of gold here. His aim is clearly to get this coiler, but it will be vulnerable on wave 5. So we'll see what he decides to do. He does shift a little bit less. He does receive here a total of 40. So he'll be quite happy with that, but I don't think he pushes to 8 worker. He need that badger. So the reason here on SSP is a total of 62 rangers here helping the badger will be able to hold that. But more interestingly, there's 100 cent onto the Tempest player. Devilfish is still alive, buying time for the Aquas, and the Dino is down, so this looks like a hold here. 100 cent, perfectly held by Papai, so very good to negate the pressure by Gajuner. But what's the fallback of that? We have Gajuner leaking a little bit here to 100 cent as well. SSP leaking to the 60 cent a little bit. Uh, okay. Uh, well, thank you for the follow. Even though I'm not streaming. Uh, but yeah, so everybody at 7 workers, but now it's about the gold. What is the gold on the board? What is the gold invested on the board and on workers? And we'll see here. So 200 gold here on Cyanogen will be able to put the coiler plus an additional proton to extend the split here, buy more time for those two units to do their job. Okay, he does it here, so that's the same idea. Here we'll see SSP going for a reset onto Gajuner. Can be successful, all depends on how much this can survive, but still a lot of DPS with those atoms. Looking at the side, well, Papai does not receive anything. 60 reset onto Saya will be able to clear that, pretty sure. I don't think there's enough to put fear into the Korla. The boss is always going down with that. Definitely on the side of SSP to support Badger. And so it will be a hold, right? You're holding SSP, I think. But now this is a huge turning point here because now you have Berserker Serpent, who was sent quite a lot in the early game, and he's quite strong on wave 6. 7 is not that much of an issue, and 8 is pretty strong as well. So you'll see Cyanogen pushing those workers. 10 workers as of now. He will stay at this because he doesn't have enough gold, and it is not worth it to push to 11 worker if he does not receive anything here on wave 6. But Papai here will receive an imp, and the imps will be met with a violet. So it is possible that the imps will be enough to leak him because this is not a devilfish. So he's using the serpent as damage here and the violet as a tank. So we'll see if it is enough. It's all about how much time this can hold off the split. As of now, it doesn't seem to be a long time, and the Tempest are sniping one of the imps, so only one imp is remaining. The Seraphim is helping a lot onto the Violet. The second spell is going through here, and now the imp is getting focused, but two Rokos are still remaining, and it is the Seraphim getting targeted here. So one Roko leak, not the end of the world considering the side of the sand here. 120, only leaking one Roko, or is it? Is it one Roko leak? It is not. It is a perfect hold here from Papai. So very good for them. Uh, as of now, Papai does control the sands from Kahuna, and the one who's under out of the pressure now is SSP. He needs to be answering the push of Cyanogen. And wait, that is Papai doing it instead. 11 workers on Papai. So SSP going for the Cannoneer, going for some income. Cyanogen still saving. So he's going to try and put SSP out of place on wave 8 or possibly 9. 9 is quite brutal seeing what SSP has, but can Cyanogen survive up to then? With the Dino Sen, I will say yes. I do think there's a large possibility of Cyanogen to long save here to wave 9. And there's nothing much SSP can do about it, unless he reads the play. And if he reads the play, he needs to be doing a reroll or getting that Holy Avenger. But the problem is that White is a tank for the Holy Avenger. Another solution could be to go for the Iron Scale. Even though it's arcane defense, it is quite powerful in terms of impact damage and to delay. So it is idea reliant on SSP realizing what's happening. But now SSP at 8 workers while everybody else is at 11 workers. If the plan from Cyanogen works here and to go on wave 9 to punish heavily SSP, then it will be pretty big for them. And did he have that? Did he have this pilgrim? And I would say no. I do think that he will aim for that pilgrim upgrade next wave. And you will be quite happy to see there's no sand here. And now, armed with this Lost Chieftain, he will be able to do very well on wave 9. And also, we will see a cover on Papai's side on wave 9 because he will go for a second Violet, I do presume. Looking at the others, Saiyajin did save a long time, so he might be in trouble, but he does have the gate here. And if he sends, he will be able to uh, to to build that gate, but he needs to send for that. We do have Papai sending. SSP will go for purely income, I do believe. Yes, Drake. And we have Gajuner and Saijin going for the Ghost Knight here. And he does get the gate here. The gate is crucial here for Saijin. Will be able to hold most of the sends possible, but Pack Leader could be one of those sends that he's not able to hold here. So we'll see how he does. But Gahuna also going for a mold here. And oh, that is a boar here coming from Papai instead of a second Violet. I quite understand why, because he doesn't have the front line. But sometimes having that extra damage can still be very good. But in the long run, sorry, the boar will always be better. But let's see here how SSP does against this 300 cent. He does not go for the Lost Chieftain, decide to go for the worst possible option according to what Saijin could have done, and that was the only Avenger. He does snipe the Ghost Knight, but nothing much more. The problem with that only Avenger is that nothing is protecting it, and so going for the Lost Chieftain is almost always a better choice. Just because you buff that natural defense tank, which is necessary for you to hold, but Papai not holding here, despite having the boar and the violet. And a part of the reason why is that he doesn't have the split aggro now because of that boar. So that's one of the reasons sometimes that going for that second violet is still good, but you're vulnerable to imps. So it's all about the decisiveness here in the decision. But now after this long save, Saijin will be quite happy for that because he did hold. Did he hold? No, he didn't hold. But he did hold quite well, only 32%. You'll be quite happy with that. And now he's quite strong on 10. 11, 12, a little bit problematic for him, but he does have the boar himself. So the board does negate the advantage that quarter gives to you, but when you're lacking that much tank and you're playing gate, the quarter does diminish into importance in the mid game and the later stages as well. So right now, net advantage towards Kahuna and Saijin, but it is not impossible for SSP and Papai to come back here. Because Papai does have a good mid-game role with the Tempest and Violets. So 12 and 13 can be easily covered for him, but the problem now is to read, is it 14? And looking at what SSP has, I wouldn't be surprised if it was another long save or Cyanogen going 12 and then both of them joining on wave 15. 15 is one of the weak waves of Only Avenger, but the Only Avenger does not have a single buff. So that is important to remember, and so 14 is still an option here for him. So wave, oh, it's gonna be wave 11 here. That's another possibility that they not account for, but Lost Chieftain coming in will mean that SSP does have a good chance, and Cyanogen going for the Witch. And the Witch is quite good here because there's no big tanks to speak of. But knowing that he will go Lost Chieftain, that's a little bit troubling because this is still a lot of HP going this way. But looking at what it will be a 1.5 plus 570, so 2.07k. So yeah, it does make sense to go for Witch here, despite having the possibility of the Lost Chieftain. Protector goes in on the only Avenger, but Papai looking decent here on that wave, and SSP not sending. Papai going for Lizard Army. That can be quite interesting because if SSP does not hold here, that is quite problematic in the future for him, because he will lose a lot of gold here, and it does not look pretty. It really does not look pretty at all. Um, he does clear quite a lot with with this Lost Chieftain, and the Daphnes are also helping a little bit in terms of damage, but it will be a massive leak here. But on the side of Papai, also not being able to hold 12 creeps to the king. This is close to game here, which does a lot of damage and can be all over here. The Hermit going to the King as well can be problematic since it's chain lightning as well, or lightning hammer should I say. Um, but let's see how it does. It still does a lot of damage. The Witch is insane in terms of DPS. The Fruggles did pop out, and it is game indeed for Sergeant Gajuner, taking it against SSP and Papai, with a very decisive 11 cent here. And I do think that the problem started when SSV decided to go for with wave 9 or the Avenger. Like, I understand the reasoning that, okay, I don't have any impact damage, so soaring does make a lot of sense, but the send was super long, so you need to realize what is the possibilities here. Ghost Knight was probably the last thing you expected because there's the Daphnes to destroy any tank, but it was just perfect for Cyanogen to go for that. And in the end, if he goes Lost Chieftain here with Looter Spam, just by time, and pairs well with the Daphnes as well, then he could do better in terms of armor type, in terms of HP, and in terms of damage as well. And also the advantage is that it's a little bit better here on wave 11 because he was already strong here on wave 11, on wave 10, so he didn't need that additional frontline. But bold move by them to not go for wave 11 here, despite seeing what Saya has, honestly. And even Gahuna, not having a single frontline unit, they both could have went for this. That's for sure. And that would have mean that Papai could have held here on this wave instead of leaking here. Yeah, so I think the 11 cent could have been very good, and maybe a 12 resend if they wanted 12, if they really wanted 12. But the Witch here was pretty good here, realizing there's no big tank from SSP, and utilizing the magic damage as much as possible. So on that, I'm gonna say thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Any feedback always appreciated. And we'll be back for more tomorrow. So have a nice one, guys.